Welcome to Native Bidaské, Native News Online's weekly spotlight on the people making news and leading change in Indian country.
Welcome to another episode of Native Bidaské. I'm your host, Levi Rickert, editor of Native News Online. Earlier this month, the migrant detention center that is dubbed Alligator Alcatraz that reportedly will be capable of holding up to 5,000 people in a facility that was quickly erected on a closed-down airstrip in the Everglades. To the east of the traditional land of the Seminole tribe, and to the west is Miccosukee tribe of Indians of Florida. Both tribes oppose this detention center. One of the leaders of the opposition is Betty Osceola, a tribal citizen of the Miccosukee tribe. She is a respected elder of the tribe who has featured in the documentary Path of the Panther in 2022, showcasing her work protecting panther habitat within the Florida Wildlife Corridor. She is a spiritual leader who has walked on many spiritual walks, and we'll get into that with her in a second. But Betty, welcome to Native Bidaské. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. It's a little bit cooler today. It's sprinkling, so that's a good thing for me.
Good. And joining us today on Native Bidaské is a senior reporter for Native News Online, Sean Griswold. How you doing, Sean?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having us here.
Yes. Betty, just today, the tribe came to our attention, and you sent me the lawsuit. Thank you very much for that. Asked a federal judge to allow it to intervene in a case to remove ICE facility in the Florida Everglades. Friends of the Everglades and the Center of Biological Research are the lead plaintiffs that have been working to stop the federal detention site in that state. Do you support this action from your tribe and what you talked about with elderly relatives, what you see the tribe going to court to stop the people?
Yes, I do support the tribe's actions. I've been out here daily and expressing my concerns to anyone who would listen of the public, but also to our tribal leadership, and continually asking, as I live out here, our other tribal members live out here, there's members of the Seminole tribe, and what is going on out here, I do believe they did make the right decision to intervene, because this is impacting our people.
And Betty, I'm curious, can you share with what else you might have heard from other relatives in the community who are talking about what's going on with this Alligator Alcatraz? What are other people sharing with you? What are you hearing?
Well, there's I have relatives that live not even a half mile from this facility, and there's a couple other homes as well. And the proximity of one of the camps feel like they're being spied on. The closest camp there, some type of signage was put up with a camera, and they feel like their movements are being recorded. They all the increased traffic that's been out here, we don't know we don't know what's going on, because no one really knows what's going on in that detention center. How is the security, or even have the people who are working there, have they been vetted? It kind of makes me, when I hear about other tribes having the issues of missing and murdered Indigenous women, and you think of now here in our own backyard, we got all these people coming and going. We don't know who they are. I'm not talking about the individuals that they're detaining. I'm talking about everyone else that's coming into the area now. And public health concerns. Other facilities have been having, tuberculosis outbreaks and other illnesses. So you have staff people here, coming through our community, stopping in, our tribal store. So, what are they exposing tribal members and the random people of the public who stop in? And the noise pollution. I mean, it's very noisy out here with all the cars coming and going, the light pollution. There's a lot of environmental concerns. Also, this road, I used to just drive down this road because the gates were never shut off. You could just drive, park, go look for medicinal plants off the side of the road. A lot of people came out here to do other things that are more in a spiritual nature that we don't really discuss to the public. this place is close to one of our ceremonial grounds. Are they going to spy on us when we have ceremony? Are there going to be cameras watching our ceremony now? Because our grounds are not too far from this location. So there's a lot of thoughts going through my head. Is if something happens, is ICE just going to come up into our reservation?
And you talked a lot about the traffic, and you're out on the road right now. What road? Tell us what road you're on, and then I have another question about traffic from there.
We're on the Tamiami Trail, which is also known as Highway 41. It runs east and west from Miami to Naples and all the way up to Tampa. That's where I'm
And
at right now.
This is a regular use road that you use normally, and now it's
Yes.
seeing all this increased traffic. I'm curious, can you share for us who aren't there? Are these marked vehicles? What are the vehicles you're seeing that are described? And you're saying also you're just seeing brand new signs popped up with surveillance cameras on them too?
Yeah, one of the camps has a signage for its caution, but sign. It's the first time I ever saw a camera mounted to it, and it's right there across from one of the Indian villages that is west of where I'm sitting right now. And just right now, an 18 wheeler pulled in. I've seen fuel trucks go in today. I've seen water trucks go in today. I saw a truck pulling a trailer that had a mini excavator on it. I've seen an ambulance go in, not with its lights on it, because they have a contracted ambulance. I saw an ambulance go in. I've seen highway patrol come out. They have shift changes, so I see a lot of cars and trucks coming out of this site. Not too far down the entranceway of the road, there's National Guard, I guess, stopping everyone, checking who's who before they let them in. And then there's the random tourists.
Yeah, right. It's become a thing where people are trying to take selfies. Levi, you were wondering about this. We were talking about the sort of disrespect that is now coming to this space where Alligator Alcatraz has become this nickname for this location.
Well,
I mean, what does that do for you, Betty, in the community, knowing that that's now what people are calling your homeland?
I don't like it, and the irony of putting this facility next to indigenous people isn't lost on me. And some people may not understand that, but if you're indigenous, you understand. Is this meant to tell us that, oh, you're next? Is this meant to make us be in fear? It's this sacred place, this special place of healing is being, to me, it's being degraded by what they're doing. This lack of understanding of what this area is, and they describe it as this wasteland, uninhabitable. They've described that many years ago to justify dredging and filling and draining this area for development. And I hear those same words again, trying to rationalize and justify this form of development, because it is a form of development. Why would they bring in $11 million worth of fill if this was temporary? That just came out today. I saw that, where $11 million has been, gone towards the amount of fill that they're bringing in with dump trucks. And who knows, how much more money on this infrastructure that they're putting in. And we all know this isn't temporary. They're planning to make something out here permanent. So what does that look like? There's a lot of questions. What does that look like, this development? Because, they're not telling anyone.
Sean?
Yeah, I think that you're sharing with us so many details that you can, and you're on the ground showing us that. And also you speak about something bigger of, we don't know what the impacts this will create. And we've also already seen your tribe be publicly opposed, as we're speaking about. The Seminole tribe of Florida is also publicly opposed. You're talking to Native people who are in other regions across this continent. What can they do to support you and others in Florida in this battle right now?
I would think, just like the two tribes are expressing their opposition, other tribes, it would be very encouraging if they as well expressed their support of what we're doing out here, and the opposition of this is going on. Because the reality is, this is probably something like this is probably going to come to a reservation elsewhere in Indian country. What is happening here seems to be like the blueprint for what, and we know because Christy Nome has is encouraging other states to follow Florida's lead and do the same thing. So it's going to come, it's going to migrate out of Florida into other areas if we don't stop this. And, Indian tribes need to stand united, and I hope they do. I hope USET, was it United Southeastern Tribes, they come together and discuss this, because there is concerns. There's sovereignty concerns, big sovereignty concerns. Are they going to, surveillance the tribes? Are they going to use this, as I mentioned it before? We have, our tribe has their tribal police and maintain our sovereignty. Are they going to use this as a way to just come in and do whatever they want on the reservation?
Mhm.
That's a concern for me.
That voice and what you said there is significant to hear. Now, we also should mention a lot of what has been lost, and your tribe has fought so hard just to even have management of the Florida Everglades. Can you talk about more to one, did you get any notification that this detention facility was going to be built? And then two, can you speak about what was lost when it came to management that was ongoing and now we don't even know where it can go next to?
I asked when that promo came out, I immediately asked our tribe, hey, was there tribal consultation about this that we didn't know about? And the tribe itself said, no, there was no tribal consultation. And I understand, because I asked, family members of the Seminole tribe, was their tribe in consultation? And as far as they know, neither of the tribes have been consulted about this. And you would think too, considering that you have the tribes who originated from here that are now in Oklahoma, because anything that goes on, especially with burial grounds, they have to send notification out to all interested parties. So I even wonder if the other tribes, that originated from here, were they contacted as well? Because you're supposed to do that. Anyone that would have any type of interest in this area, you're supposed to send them notification for consultation. And from what I understand, that has not occurred. And our tribe, the reason what Florida has water quality standards is because we sued over it. We forced the state of Florida to have water quality standards and sued because us protecting ourselves also protects the state to do better. And this area is of, Everglades restoration and Western Everglades restoration, where the tribe has been, trying to work with state legislators and federal legislators to make sure funding is secured for these projects to restore and reconnect the hydrology and clean the water. But yet here we are, this project that has the potential to, destroy an aquifer that provides water for 8 million people, not just Miccosukee, but South Floridians. 8 million people. To me, that's a lot of people.
Well, Betty, let's talk about that aspect of it. Is to your knowledge, is that facility capable of disposing of the human waste of up to 5,000 people? To your knowledge, what will that do to the environment?
Well, that's a lot of waste, right? And they're
Correct.
trucking in all the water and trucking out all the waste. That's every day you see a lot of trucks coming and going. And that's not very feasible to me if you're trying to protect the environment. Like if a hurricane comes and you have all that waste on site and fuel, let's start the jet fuel trucks that have gone in. They have generators back there, so the fuel that goes in that is stored back there for the generators, all those things. If a hurricane comes, that has the potential to put all of that into the ecosystem. How are they going to mitigate that? Because they haven't done any studies on it. They haven't allowed the public to ask those questions. How are you going to mitigate that? How are you going to prevent that from happening? And I understand on the human level, Florida said that if there's a category 1 or 2 hurricane, they're not going to evacuate anyone. And these are in these little travel trailers and these big tents. That's very, that's very concerning, as the lack of planning or this lackadaisical attitude towards what's going on.
Yeah. And that's been seen wide across a lot of this Trump administration in its second term is a lot of very rushed efforts with planning that seems to not be there. And this is another example of all that. And now it's harming you and your community. What do you see out of this? What do you envision in the next, by the end of the year with the Florida Everglades right now?
I envision that this being stopped, but also reminding individuals that we have to stay vigilant in protecting our natural landscapes. Because here in the 1970s, this location was destined to be the largest airport in the world at the time. And runways were already being built without permits or anything, without, at that time, environmental studies really didn't exist. And the fight to stop that original development is what created the EPA. Out of that was born the Environmental Protection Agency. Out of the fight to stop this original project, you got the Clean Water Act. So this, to me, this is a monument that's being desecrated, and people don't understand that history and significance. And because history is destined to repeat itself if you don't learn it. And here we are. And I never thought I would have to be fighting this fight that, that my family fought back in the day. But here we are again, trying to continue to protect this area. Every time we turn around, our tribe is having to fight to protect this area. And it takes due diligence. That's comes out of this. We have to stand up and not think it's hopeless. We have to stand up and continue to protect these areas.
And I think I saw in the press recently called the Everglade Warriors. So, our tradition as Native people, we have been warriors. So, but there's another aspect to you that I find is so refreshing, and is that you are a prayer warrior as well, right? So this weekend you're going to have a prayer of some sort. Can you tell our audience what that's going to be about and how they can participate?
Yeah, because that's how I was raised. We're a people of healing. We come from a place of healing, and that's how I was taught. I'm Panther Clan. In our clan, we're the warriors and the healers of our people. And I was always taught from a young age that the Panther Clan has to look out for all our people. That's what our clan is, the protectors of our people. But also coming from a place of healing, because I'm always praying for the landscape and the people of the landscape. And I always pray and ask Creator, what can I do for you? And I ask the trees and the air and the water, help me help you. What can I do for you to help you? And that's what I've always guided myself, because that's how I was taught from the examples that I had before me. My late mother, my late uncles, they were the same way. So this weekend, I'm holding a prayer vigil, and not just having, indigenous people, but I've invited people of other faiths and spiritualities to offer a prayer, because our collective prayers are very much needed right now, and trying to show that we can all show our spirituality and share in that spirituality as human beings of Creator. And this place, it's very sad. I can feel it in the air, and then the trees, the trauma that is being experienced now by this natural world. It's sometimes very overwhelming, and it needs a lot of healing, and it needs a lot of love, for everything that's going on here. And my hope is that with us praying over this area, that nature feels it, and also the individuals that are here, a mile from the road, also feel it. Because I do truly believe that in the power of our prayers, and putting up ceremony, for our fellow human beings, is very much needed right now. And
Thank you so much. And to our viewers, Chi Miigwech, you're tuning in. We've been talking with Betty Osceola, who is one of the leaders of the protests and prayer down in the Florida Everglades, opposing the prison that has been dubbed the Alligator Alcatraz. So keep her in prayer, and the folks down there. And Native News Online is committed to covering this story. And Betty, as things change, we please will have you come back on Native Bidaské. Thank you very much for coming on. Chimigwich to you.
Well, thank you, Shanabish, for giving me the opportunity.
Okay. And thank you, Sean. Thank you, as always. To our viewers, we'll be back next week with another episode of Native Bidaské. In the meantime, as I like to tell you every week, elders, take care of those young ones, give them hugs, and young ones, take care of your elders. They are golden people. So Chimigwich, we'll see you next week on another episode of Native Bidaské.
Thank you for joining us. If you value our warrior journalism for Indian country, please consider supporting our work by scanning the QR code or visiting the link below. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on social media, and sign up for our free daily news.